Ready to roll? All right. Good morning, Flagler County. This is Danielle Anderson, your host of Lifeline, the radio show connecting you to positivity in our community. And we have two special guests in the studio today. We have Terry Boletto, director of the Flagler Free Clinic. I always want to call it Flagler County Free Clinic.
That is our official name.
Is it?
But we do shorten it to Flagler Free Clinic. It's just easier.
Yeah, it sounds kind of cool too, like FFC, like FCC. And we also have Quincy Baby in the studio, who is my dog, who currently is experiencing some AC issues at the house. So we brought him into the studio. So thanks for bearing with Quincy and coming in to see us today.
She's gorgeous. I love Quincy.
Yeah, he's a sweetheart. Hi, what's up, baby? So, we want to find out, I know you're super busy and we actually talked you're working on some grants and things like that. So, it's been a little while. What's going on over at the clinic?
Well, as usual, we're constantly doing something and growing. We've had a huge increase in patient population over the last year. Part of that is because the state of Florida made more people eligible. So it used to be 250% or below the federal poverty level would qualify you. And now it's 300%.
Oh, wow.
And that really helps a lot of working people who would just miss by a couple $100, $300, $400. So that's really helped. We also started about a year and a half ago on a real planned marketing plan. So we've been running ads in the Observer once or twice a month.
Nice.
We hired Cindy DeLeckie, which I'm sure a lot of your people know. Everybody in Flagler County knows Cindy.
Right.
And she's been helping us with our marketing and social media. And it's really, we've increased volunteers. We had a 69% increase in new patients last year. 69%. That's huge.
Just a little bit of marketing goes a long way.
Does it ever?
Yeah, and people don't realize that, are you doing like more social media stuff and you feel like getting the word out?
Cindy's doing that. I'm not much of a social media person myself, but we're active on Facebook. She's done our website, updated our website.
Oh, nice.
But the Observer ads also have really paid off.
Have they?
So we kind of change it up, and we'll market more to new patients, which we did for healthy patients. Because I know, as we've talked before, most of the patients that come to a free clinic, unfortunately, are really seriously sick.
Right.
With chronic, serious illnesses. And as we've moved along this expansion of ours, I said, we need to figure out how to get uninsured people who are still healthy to come in and have an annual physical or have some labs done. Kind of get ahead of it a little bit. And so we marketed some ads towards that, and that has really helped. Our average age patient has dropped. It used to be 54 years old, and now it's about 48 years old, which is a pretty substantial drop. So we're getting 24-year-olds and 30-year-olds, just people to come in and have a physical and make sure you're healthy.
I love that because, it really makes a difference, and also probably the morale of your team to see people who are currently healthy, knowing you're doing preventative care.
Yes, being proactive about it. And the other big thing is our dental program has really taken off. We worked on dental. I've been at the clinic now 11 years, and we started early on with dental, and we started with old dental chairs, like from the 80s, old, and kind of limped along. We had some difficulty getting enough volunteer dental professionals. We don't have that issue at all with medical, but dental's harder because dental's a lot more physical.
Well, plus, have you ever tried to get an emergency dentist appointment? They're swamped.
Yes, they are. So we struggled a bit during COVID. I decided that, I'm going to try and write some grants to upgrade our dental program. And we did. So we have 2 brand new dental operatories, new chairs, new handheld x-ray, new compressor. Everything new. And our thinking was, well, this will make it easier for our volunteer dentist. And maybe it'll make it easier for us to recruit more dentists. And it actually has. But I also wrote a grant so that we could pay some dentists. Because, as you know, and probably most people listening to us today, your oral care, oral health is so tied to your physical health.
Everything.
It really is. And it's just so critically important. And much like the free clinic, there's nowhere for people to go for dental care that's they can afford.
Yeah.
It's very, very expensive. The dental insurance is very, very expensive. So we were able to employ 2 dentists part time, not full time. But now we see between those 2 dentists and our volunteers, we see dental patients 4 days a week, sometimes 5. Sometimes we have a dentist that comes in on Saturday too.
That's incredible.
So that's really, so now I love it. We're full service.
You're like a hospital going on over here.
I don't know if I go that far, but we are, we've really expanded
Pretty close.
to be able to help the whole person.
And dental is such a great need here in our community for some reason.
Oh, it is. And it is in most communities.
Is it?
Oh, yes. You'd be surprised the number of people that haven't been able to go to the dentist in years and years. And so they end up with huge cavities that you end up having to lose the tooth or just a lot of problems. So I am proud to say we don't have a waiting list. If you have an issue, we can usually get you squeezed in
Nice.
within a few days or a week. And if you just want to set up care and have a checkup, about 4 or 5 weeks we'll get you in.
You are going to be flooded now. People are going to be like, free dental care, let's go.
I know our team's going to be cursing me probably.
You have to hire 2 more dentists.
but it's really a good thing that we're able to do this, yes, for sure. But it's expensive, really. Medical isn't that expensive to operate. It's the business end of things, paying rent and electricity and those kind of things. But the supplies that we need for medical are manageable.
Yeah, definitely.
Dental, all the supplies are really expensive. You use a lot of supplies every month. So yeah, that's kind of made us have to focus a little more on fund development and grants and that sort of thing.
Yeah, but you're like really good at squeezing the last penny out of that dollar,
We do seem to have a knack for that.
That's
we
good,
have
though.
to.
Well, tell people who don't know about it. How did the free clinic get started?
So the free clinic was established in 2005 by 2 people from our community, Faith Coleman, who was a nurse practitioner who was diagnosed with a cancer. And even though she worked in healthcare, she was uninsured. And she had to mortgage her home to get treatment. And that happens all the time. People find that hard to believe in our country, but I'm telling you, it happens every day. It is a normal occurrence, sadly. And after Faith went into remission, I loved her thought process, which was, I know there's other people who've gone through the same, or going through the same thing, who don't have the ability to mortgage their home or to take money out of their,
401k or
yeah,
whatever.
that they're just kind of stuck. And so she said, I think we could do something about it. So at the time she worked at Ardent Family Care with the Alfonsos, and Dr. Don Alfonso contacted Dr. John Canacris, who was our first medical doctor in Flagler County. He came in the late 40s. He built the first 3 hospitals here. And as a matter of fact, the office we're in, I just learned recently, was our first hospital. The fire marshal told me that. Oh. I had no idea. He said, well, you know why you have those carports out back, right? And I thought, well, because it's good for your cars and it keeps them cool. And he said, no, that's where the ambulances came in.
It looks like a hospital on the outside.
It does. Now, when I look at it with those eyes, it does. So anyway, they talked to Dr. John. He agreed to let them use his office, and they saw patients 2 Saturdays a month for about 9 years. Unfortunately, Dr. John passed away in 2012. Faith had a recurrence of her cancer in 2014, and she passed away the end of 2014. But her dying wish was to know that the clinic would go forward. So they decided to hire a director. Before that, it was 100% volunteer driven. 2 Saturdays a month, everybody got together. They saw the patients they could, walk-in basis, and closed up until, another couple of weeks, and then they did it again. So when I was hired in 2014, my job was to start expanding services. And the first thing after I did a couple Saturdays, my first thought was, oh, we have to see people by appointment. This is crazy. It was just,
Chaotic.
it was, that's a perfect word. It was chaotic. And people, I knew we could do better. So I figured, well, they deserve better. If we can do better, let's do it. And so we moved from a very small suite in the same building to our beautiful large suite that we have now. And almost immediately started scheduling. We had an old fashioned schedule book. And we started scheduling patients, started recruiting new volunteers, a lot of which I knew because I had been in healthcare in hospice before. So I called out to some of my friends and coworkers. And just little by little, we expanded, and then we added electronic health record. And so it goes. Now we see patients 5 days a week.
I remember when you got the electronic health record, that was a big deal.
Oh, was it ever? And also, it was a big deal because the volunteers weren't all really excited about doing that. They kind of liked the paper. But I said from the beginning that I promise you, we do not want to lose any volunteers over this. So let's work it out. And we did it by having some scribes for some providers. And just little by little, everybody kind of embraced it. And now we can keep much better statistics. We can read everyone's writing.
That's the number one thing.
I mean, it's just been, it's made us much more efficient. And that was in 2017. So yeah, we're 8 years into it now.
And I remember, just as I followed your journey, it's been like adding one new piece, one new specialty provider, one new thing. You know what I mean? And then
Yes.
taking it and making it bigger. And it's just grown into this amazing thing.
You know, it's because when I started, first of all, one thing, I worked in volunteer management for 20 years before coming to the clinic. And one of the things I love about volunteerism is the passion and excitement that everyone has. You know, they really, if you have a good group of volunteers, they have that can-do spirit and, we'll get this and let's go. But you have to kind of blend it with a little realism.
Oh, no.
Because everybody wanted it to be today, tomorrow, next month. And I said, we'll work consistently on this and we'll get her there. But really, the most important thing is to grow slow and steady and do a good job and, build a good reputation.
And I think you took charge of that. You really put that foundation down and doing things like holding open houses where people can come in and really see the stuff you're doing firsthand. That was amazing.
Yes, and we want it's a community service, and we want our community to see what we're doing. If you need health care or dental care, we're here. If you have free time and you'd like to volunteer and join a nice group of people, that you'll really enjoy the days that you spend there. And also for donors, because that's who we need, to continue what we've got going. So, yeah, our doors are always open. We love to give people tours.
That's awesome. So we're going to take a quick break and we're going to talk about what's next for the clinic and the next 10 years. We'll be right back. All right. Ready, Mark? We're back. So we're back with Terry Bolletto. We are talking about the Flagler-Free Clinic. And, you guys hit a big milestone last year with 10 years.
20 years.
Is it 20?
20 years, yes. We were established in 2005, and we are 20 years into this clinic in our community. It's so exciting.
That's why I'm a journalist and not a mathematician.
No, it's, yeah.
Yeah, so when we're talking about that, like what are
Huge
the plans for the next 20 years? Do you think about those things?
Oh, my goodness. Do we ever? Yes. Okay, so, well, first of all, for this year, hey, Quincy, this year, it's been a celebration all year, really, basically. Now, as we go towards the end of the year, in November, we're going to have a 20-year anniversary golf tournament at Ocean Hammock. And the Ocean Hammock has been so supportive of us throughout the years. We have many of our providers live there, and so they got together and said, let's do a big golf tournament. So we're doing that. The date is in a flux a little bit right now, but we should have the final date. It'll definitely be November, but we should have the final date in the next couple of days. Then we're going to do, and I'm going to say gala. It's not going to be black tie because we're just not black tie people. But we're going to have a celebration dinner on November 15th at Grand Haven. We also partnered up with some folks in the community besides Cindy. And you know what? I'm not going to remember Wilson's full name, but anyway,
He does
Wilson.
the videos.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So I asked Brian McMillan from the Observer and Laura Z from here and Cindy I want to do a nice video for the clinic. Who would you recommend? All three of those people said the same person. And he just goes by Wilson. So actually, this Sunday, we're having a volunteer appreciation lunch, and we're going to unveil our new video for everybody, but we will unveil it for the community going forward after that. So, that's going to kind of round out our year, and also with our holiday open house that we always do the first Friday of December in the evening, just to have people come in, have a good time. But as far as growth going forward, we're getting ready to kick off a capital campaign.
Are you?
Because we need a permanent home.
So this isn't permanent where you guys are?
No, we rent. And our rent is $50,000 a year.
Wow.
Now, when I started the clinic, I very naively believed that by the time I was ready to retire, we would probably have universal health care or something for all.
Oh, yeah, that fairy dust.
Yes,
Sprinkle some of that around here.
Well, obviously now I know better. And I really, before, I'm ready, and I'm not anytime soon ready to retire, but when I am, I'd like to know that we're in a permanent home so that eventually we'll own the building and we can not be paying $50,000 a year for rent or mortgage, that we can own the building.
Do you guys want to own where you are, or do you need something different?
We need something different. That building is historic and great, but it needs a lot of work. And every time we have a hurricane or a tropical storm, we get wet inside. And, we have to sandbag all the doors and then suck water out the carpet.
Gosh.
And we're just all a little bit like, no, this isn't as much as we love where we are. So that's one thing we'll be kicking off towards the end of the year. The other thing we're working on, so whenever we do an annual audit and then review the next year, audit review. And you can, if you're interested, you can go to our website at flaglerfreeclinic.org. And you can see our financials, our 990 tax returns, and our audits and reviews. I think it's really important to be totally transparent.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
With our financials, and that people can look at them and no problem. But our auditors always tell us, okay, everything's fine, except you need a continuous revenue stream. You totally depend
permanent
on private sector donations and grants. And that's correct. I mean, we have no billing apparatus at all. Zero.
Not to cut you off, but like the United Way is doing this new thing with the endowments.
Yes.
And I am just so impressed with the idea. I'm just like, can't all these nonprofits that need this kind of support, ongoing permanent support, do something like that?
I actually met with the United Way folks a couple weeks ago. And when I get back, my husband and I are going on a trip here soon. But when I come back, I'm going to sit down and talk to them about that specifically. So anyway, our thought was there's one certification for free clinics, and it's called Patient-Centered Medical Home. If we get that certification, we can then develop a sliding fee scale for folks who don't qualify but still can't afford health insurance.
Because there's got to be a huge gap in there of people
huge.
that don't.
It's huge. The other thing, so that would create revenue for us, but the other thing is we could also bill Medicaid. And right now, there are no Medicaid providers in our community. I know people say there are, but there's not. They get a card. If people happen to get Medicaid, they get a card, and it says Dr. So-and-so. And then they call Dr. So-and-so, and they say, we're not taking any more Medicaid.
So
patients.
Where do they go?
Well, they have to go to Volusia County, or we see them, because we are able to see. We can't bill Medicaid, but we can see patients with Medicaid who can't get to a local provider. So we do see them. And, these new Medicaid cuts aren't going to happen until the end of 2026. But at that point, I mean, we're going to have an influx of new patients for sure. So if we can get this certification, we've kind of our goal is to have it in early 2027, but there's a lot to getting the certification. So we're working on it. We have a committee of folks, nurses, physicians, nurse practitioners, our volunteer pharmacist, me, that are working on getting the certification. If we get that, then we will have some revenue coming in. So really, a permanent home and patient-centered medical home are our big two things that we're working towards right now.
And with everything else you've accomplished, I have no doubt that it's going to happen.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And you know what? I need to add one more thing before I forget or we run out of time, because we added a social worker 3 years ago, Maria Thomas. And Maria used to work at the hospital, our local hospital. She was the social worker in the emergency department. And she came to one of our open houses and she was like, oh my God, I would love to work here. And we didn't steal her or anything, but she was ready to semi-retire. And so she came to work for us. And now we have this person who can address all of those, what we call social determinants of health. So she helps people sign up for insurance. We run a report at the beginning of every year and get a list of all of our patients who are going to turn 65 and be Medicare appropriate in the coming year. And Maria sits down with every one of them, and she'll sit down there and go on the website and get them signed up. She does food insecurity, and she works on housing. We've kind of limited on our housing possibilities in this community, but she does what she can with that. So she works on all of those other things that aren't medical and dental, and we're really excited to have Maria with us.
Well, that's nice because, it's so important to have that one-stop, especially for somebody who's maybe transportation limited, funds limited, getting around. It's like, hey, look, come here and let's plug you in and see what we can do to help.
100%. And we also work with Flagler County Human Services. So there are other person that when we have a need for a specialist that we don't have, or someone needs a surgery that we can't get, Flagler County Human Services steps in. So we can't do everything. We have limits, but we can do a lot more than we used to be able to do. And we see lives change pretty regularly. We'll get a note in the mail every once in a while that just tugs at your heart because it's like, thank you so much. You guys were a light when everything was dark for me. Oh, poor Quincy.
He just wants attention. He's like, hey guys, don't forget about me.
I'm here.
So before you retire, what is the biggest thing you want to accomplish besides getting a home for the clinic?
I think getting that certification and finding a replacement, for me when I'm
succession planning.
A succession plan, yes. I've asked Maria and Rosario, who a lot of people probably know Rosario Alfonso, who's been with us now for 8 years. And she came from Ardent Family Care too. And trust me, she's the face of the front desk. She knows every patient. She knows what's going on. She's just a sweetheart. But she's not interested.
Isn't that weird? You do all this work and you're like, somebody's going to want this job, right? And everybody's like, nope, we see how hard you work. We're good.
It just takes the right personality. We'll find them.
You think so?
Yeah, oh yes, for sure. Yeah.
And you had a big night yesterday too, didn't you? A big day yesterday? Was it your birthday, your anniversary? What was that?
Facebook, right?
Yes.
Yes, it
I
was.
saw that. I was like, oh my gosh.
35 years of marriage that we celebrated, yes.
That's incredible.
It is incredible. It seems like, I don't know, not that long.
Right? And, and even in today's society when everything seems to change so often, it's nice to hear of that kind of stuff.
Well, I recently read an article about long-term marriages and how they're different. And it was really kind of interesting because the only difference is you kind of shake things off quicker and just are like, yeah, okay, whatever. I mean, and
Right.
short of horrible things,
Yeah.
that would break up any relationship. But yeah, it's just.
They ate the last bowl of cereal. It's not that dramatic today.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. Tell everybody how they can get in touch with you if they want to be a donor, volunteer, or come and hang out with you.
Well, okay, so let's see. We'll start with our webpage, flaglerfreeclinic.org. You can certainly call the clinic. Our number's 386-437-3091, or you can drop by our clinic. The address is 703 East Moody Boulevard in Bunnell. We're directly across the street from the Bunnell Post Office in the yellow building. The sign at the top says 700. There's always a lot of confusion about that, but if you're going to put in GPS 703, you can't miss us. Or you can email me, and my email is T like Terry, BELLETTO at flaglerfreeclinic.org, or you can just drop by.
She'll give you a tour. She'll get you
That's
hooked
right.
up,
That's right.
and she'll take your money.
Gladly.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming in. I know you're so busy, and I
Aw, it's a
appreciate you making
pleasure.
time to come in.
It's a pleasure, Danielle. Anytime you call, I'm willing.
Awesome. Thanks. And we want to thank Quincy for behaving mostly. And we also want to thank our friends at WNZF News Radio, Flagler News Weekly, the Vigilante Philanthropists, Massage by Natalie and Company, and also the Benjamin Moore Paint Store here in Palm Coast. So you guys have a great week, and we'll see you